So the next part is we have our panel, and this is the business side of innovative public-private partnership for workforce development. It is my pleasure to introduce our moderator for the panel, Sivaraman Anbar, as we respectfully call him, as those who are in the circle. He is the Executive Director and CEO of New Jersey Community College Consortium for Workforce and Economic Development. He's been in higher ed for over 15 years, working at Camden County College, Sussex County Community College as a dean, and at NJIT as a consultant in continuing education and workforce development. The mission of the consortium is to improve the skills of New Jersey's workforce to meet the employer's hiring and training needs. In his current role, he directs large statewide workforce development initiatives on behalf of the 19 community colleges and builds partnerships with the business community and other organizations. He works tirelessly with us every day on advancing our initiatives. It is my pleasure to introduce Anbar, and he will introduce the panel.
Good morning. Thank you, Michelle, for that lovely introduction. Let's give another big hand to Rashad, if he's still here. Fascinating story. Really loved it. When I meet my colleagues and other friends in the industry, I often tell them two surprising facts about me. Surprising, remember the word surprising? So I tell them, before I came into higher education, 15 years I've been in higher education, I was actually an IT programmer. So 40 years ago when I came to the US, you could have hired me cheap, Rashad. And I'm right from Bangalore. That's where I did my graduate work. Believe it or not, what he was talking about didn't start yesterday. 40 years ago, an American computer company, it's a mainframe company, Burroughs Corporation those days, brought me to the US. That's how I came to the US. So that's the first surprise about me. The second surprise is I always tell them I play basketball for my school. And said, so what's surprising about it? I said I was the big man in my team. True story. Anyway, Michelle, the NJBAA and the community colleges have one of the best ongoing public-private partnerships in the state. Through their effort, through the community colleges' effort, for the past 11 years, we have been working on this NJBAA basic skills training at over 7,500 employers, and we have trained over 160,000 employees in the state. And that's one of the longest running, best received public-private partnership initiative in the state. And thanks to NJBAA and of course the Department of Labor. I see the former chief of staff here, and we have been running this, fortunately, to serve the people and the employers in New Jersey. We appreciate NJBAA's unwavering commitment to developing the workforce in New Jersey. So building New Jersey's workforce has been a hot topic for many years, but now it has become a critical discussion point for the state. Aging workforce on one side, out-migration of talent pool that Michelle talked about on the other side, and the skills gap that Rashad talked about in the middle. The workforce development has been a huge challenge for educators, employers, and the government, all alike. So how do we bring them together? So today's panel is going to explore that topic. It's my distinct privilege and pleasure to introduce the panels. Let's start from President Wong. Dr. Wong is the president of MCCCC and a vanguard of public-private partnership in the community college sector. She's also one of my bosses, so I hope you clap more for her. Next is Judy Savage, next to you, right? So Judy Savage is our next another panelist. Judy is the executive director of New Jersey Council of Vocational Technical Schools. She's a very strong advocate of career technical education at the high school level and plays a key role in ongoing partnerships with community colleges. As you know, lots of our high school students come to community colleges for higher education. And who's next to you? Dean, I should have memorized that order. Dean Peranikas is the president and CEO of BioNJ. I'm sorry, Healthcare Institute of New Jersey. I've known Hinge, as we call it, from the days of Dean's predecessor, late Bob Franks, who was my neighbor for many years. A great organization that fuels the growth of innovation economy in the big pharma space. Dean Peranikas. Lastly, but not least, Debbie Hart. Debbie, President and CEO of BioNJ. Our organizations have worked for the past 10 plus years on various initiatives. We have worked on workforce development projects through some federal and state grants. Great resource for the biotech industry, right? We got the big pharma and then the biotech industry. And she's got members also in the big pharma, so I don't mean to take that away from her. So that's our panel. So we have about 45 minutes, and the first 30 minutes or so, we will have a number of questions for the panel, and they will all answer their perspectives and their experiences and that share with you. And the last 10 minutes, we will do a Q&A session, if that's okay with you. So the first question, we will just start from President Wong on the other end. So we will rotate the questions so everybody gets a chance to start. The opening question would be, please give some examples of public-private partnership that you have worked on in your role, specifically to assist your employer community in the workforce development arena, or anything else that you can pick up.
So thank you, Embar. At Mercer, we are really focusing on this private, public, and various level partnerships. We believe no one can succeed alone. In this world, we need each other to do what is need to be done in the society. So we have partnered in multiple ways. I call it east, southeast and northwest, in all directions. So we partner with K through 12, and we particularly do dual enrollment program, allow high school students to complete their high school requirements while earning college credits. And that's another way to slash the college cost and speed up the graduation. And as of today, this semester alone, we have over 730 students from the entire Mercer County districts earning Mercer County credits this semester alone. And so that's the partnership we have. We also partner with the VOTEC. And across the street is Mercer County VOTEC. We have over 20 programs that we jointly run. And we had a student a year and a half ago graduated from Mercer County Community College in May and graduated from VOTEC in June and is now attending Columbia. So there is a great success story there. We also partner with the four-year institution, which I mentioned a while ago. We have articulation agreements which allow our students to transfer to over 80 four-year institutions in the state of New Jersey and outside. Then we partner with our businesses, and you just heard from Rashad. And Rashad is just one of the 8 business partners we have on our campus. So we have other partners in IT as well as in aviation. So I'll talk just a little bit about aviation. Aviation is a program train commercial pilots who fly American, United, and Northwest of those. And so our college partner with Piermont Airline, which is a subsidiary of American Airline, Veteran Service, and Infinity Flight School at Mercer Airport. So with this partnership, we train, as of yesterday, over 180 people to becoming pilots. That program was dying 5 years ago. The Board of Trustees almost chalked this program off, but we saved it, and through partnership, we're thriving. We have people on the wait list right now, and we are hiring additional flight instructors. And there is a severe flight shortage in the nation. So we are meeting the needs of the economy by doing this. We have a partnership in other areas that we do similar to that, such as automotive. We signed the agreement with Haldeman a year ago. So our students do the apprenticeship, paid internship at Haldeman dealership. And Haldeman dealership reward those students who return for the following semester with a $500 commitment and scholarship. And then if you do more than a 1-year apprenticeship / internship that's paid, they will give you a toolkit that's worth $2,000. And that all this is to attract the students to stay in New Jersey, because otherwise they go to another dealership across the Cancun Bridge to PA, because everywhere in the nation is short of automotive test. So we do that part. We also partner with the government agency, and Department of Labor was mentioned a moment ago. We are beginning a bachelor's degree for Department of Labor in the Department of Labor building, starting in the fall. And we want to do so because if government employees want to have mobility and advancement and retain in the department they work, they need credentials. But they are so busy, and if they are at the entry-level jobs, they usually have small children to care for. So if you require them to come to the college after the work or over the weekend or in the evenings, things don't happen. So we say, we'll come to you. So we partner with them, and we provide, and we partner with Mercer County government. So we also partner with the Trenton City. Currently, Trenton City Mayor needs help with the water department. So we provide training for them. So our job is to meet whatever your needs are. Otherwise, we're not doing our job as a higher education. As I said, we must be the engine of the economy, and the way to do so is to find your needs. And Rashad was absolutely right. I went up to him and said, why you're not hiring our people? And he told me we need a bachelor's. I said, okay, let's see what skills you need, and never mind the credentials. And he was very surprised that we teach those courses. He just told me today that he looked at our curriculum. We're almost everywhere there that they need, well, compared to other institutions who are not there. That has a lot to do with Rashad, because when I partnered with him, I asked him to do 3 things. One is helping me modernize my curriculum, because my faculty got their PhDs and degrees 10, 15, 20 years ago when there was no computer, never mind internet. So you guys know far more than my faculty. So I need your help to modernize my curriculum so I teach the students what they need to know, and therefore they will be ready for you when they graduate. And the second they asked him, I said, you need to pay. You need to pay my people so they don't go do things that slow down their academic progress, because otherwise they're bagging the grocery. Not that bagging grocery is a bad thing, but they're studying computer science, and therefore it takes away from the study. So if you pay them, then they will study and progress faster, and then you'll have them faster. I don't want the computer science students to study for 5 years, because when they come out, they're obsolete already. So, and the third thing, as I told him, he needs to come on campus, because our students, some of them don't drive. They can't get to Cranberry. So if you come on campus, then everybody can participate. And he did all 3 of them. And now look at his company. He's no longer recruiting from India and Indonesia because he's got a people. And he didn't tell you, he not only got IT people from us, he also got marketing people from us, and graphic design people from us, and social media people from us, because we offer more than 70 degrees. There is something for you. So I'm here to tell you we are ready to help you.
So from the perspective of New Jersey's county vocational technical schools, which exist in each of the 21 counties, it's all about the partnerships with employers. And I think from the inception, the career and technical programs that our schools run have relied on and benefited from the input of employers in a number of different ways. At one point we tried to count them, and it just became completely impossible to count all of the business partners that our 21 county vocational school districts have. There are literally thousands of businesses around New Jersey that partner with our schools in different ways. They serve on advisory boards, doing the kind of thing that Dr. Wong just said. Our people, even if they come out of industry, whether they're teaching IT or culinary arts or welding, once they're in the classroom, they're not in the field. And we need employers to constantly be telling us not only what's happening, but what is going to be happening in industry. If our IT programs didn't have industry people advising them, it's time to go mobile, they'd still be focusing on networking desktop computers. We need that business perspective in terms of the focus and direction of the program. Business partners give students work-based learning experience when they're in high school. They host site visits. They have students come out as mentors. They have them as interns. They hire them as cooperative education students. By the time they're seniors, many of our kids are able to get out into the workplace for part of each day, or one day a week, or sometimes even on a full-time basis for a short amount of time if they've finished their other things. They come into the classroom. They advise on, what kind of equipment needs to be in an automotive shop. I mean, just imagine if we didn't have all of those dealerships and engaged with our automotive programs, helping to keep the programs up to date. They'd still be teaching students how to fix carburetors. So though that piece is really important, and it's something that we are continually working on and trying to grow. We always need to refresh those advisory committees. We need new employers coming on. We need people from those jobs that haven't been invented yet to come in and talk to us about those things. We are preparing to embark on a major initiative, and I hope I'll get to talk a little bit more about this later, but with the passage of the Bond Act to expand county vocational schools that Michelle referenced, we are going to be starting a lot of new programs in high demand areas and industries. We need employers to advise on that. So our schools have an infrastructure in place for those partnerships, but I really appreciated all of Rashad's comments before about the importance of that and the difficulty of engaging employers, because these programs need to be led and driven by the employers, not just checking a box. So we're fully committed to that and always looking for ways to engage new partners. Thanks.
Good morning. So Hinge and our research-based biopharmaceutical and medical technology companies are actively involved in a whole range of programs across the state at both the higher ed and the high school levels, and I think it's very important. In fact, one in particular, Rajan, speaks directly to one of your points, and I want to highlight that one first. It's called Rutgers iJobs. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a program that it's an NIH-funded program, and it's one of only 17 universities in the country who got it, and its primary objective is to provide soft skills to doctoral candidates and postdocs who find that of the opportunities to be in academia, there's only, I think it's less than 1 in 5 will get a job in academia. So the whole point is to create the opportunity for them to be prepared for other types of jobs where their skills would be highly valued. This program is so successful that it's being expanded at Rutgers, and it's being linked to NJIT, Princeton, Rowan, and Stevens, so there's great opportunities for that. Another program with which we're familiar is the Rutgers Pharmacy Industry Fellowships Program, and that's for workforce development, and it's intended to provide individuals, again with doctorates, to further their knowledge of the pharmaceutical industry through hands-on work experience and research at partner companies. Industry funding, by the way, was over $18 million last year, and that exceeded the previous year by $5 million, so it's clearly on an upward trajectory. A third program supported by our industry is the Rutgers Masters of Science in Business, which provides externship exchange opportunities for students in companies that match the master's students to corporate-sponsored projects. That's currently being supported by Aetna, BD, and Ortho Clinical Diagnostics. So clearly at the higher ed level in those types of programs, it's a great example of what's been happening where at least in the case of Rutgers and NJIT and some of the other schools, they've recognized that there's a need, and the industry has also stepped up and said that they could benefit from those relationships. Moving over to STEM, which we've talked a lot about this morning, and by the way, March is STEM month. There are well over a dozen STEM education programs across the state that are supported by both the biopharmaceutical and medical technology companies. One in particular that I find very interesting, and Debbie and I are both involved with it, is called Students to Science, which is a nonprofit corporation headquartered in East Hanover that it works with middle and high school students to pursue careers in STEM subjects. And in fact, what's interesting about it is, and they just opened, by the way, a major facility in downtown Newark, working with the city of Newark last spring, where they bring in scientists and researchers from the university to work with these students so that they get hands-on experience. They replicated labs there, and it's really an exciting program. For example, that is supported by 9 pharmaceutical and medical technology companies here in New Jersey. Bristol-Myers Squibb has established centers for science learning, teaching and learning at Ryder, Montclair State, and Quinnipiac to change the way teachers learn to teach science and math. Celgene is supporting several scholarships focused on biotech, biological science, and chemistry through the Independent College Fund of New Jersey. AZI is contributing to local high school scholarships for members of the robotics competition teams. Merck has an institute to train science teachers and administrators, which has been in existence for over 25 years. And Novartis has a number of programs, including one with NJIT. Novo Nordisk has a bunch, and Sanofi does as well. So clearly you could see that there's a lot of activity going on in the industry in terms of the fact that they recognize, this being, after all, the medicine chest of the world, that there's clearly opportunity, that we have the right partners to work with here, and clearly there's ample opportunity for this to grow.
Okay, so good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to be here, Michelle. Let's see. I'm going to focus probably in 3 different areas. Our history with public-private partnerships goes way back to when David Sokolow was the Commissioner of the Department of Labor, and he called myself and Dr. David Feingold from Rutgers in and said, we would like to apply with you for a federal grant. Long story short, we were successful in securing a $5 million grant that became the platform. It was then called BioOne, and was bringing all partners together in terms of workforce, academia, government, and industry. And from that morphed the talent networks that some of you may be familiar with, which we managed up until last year when it was moved into the academic realm. But still really good things going on in the talent networks. That for us morphed then into something that we call our HR Leadership Network. And so we're supporting a lot of the kinds of things that Teen referenced, as well as, so I sit on the Rutgers University Pharmaceutical MBA program. We're working obviously with academia, industry there. We are supporting, if a high school comes to us and says we would like to bring in entrepreneurs, mentors, speakers, et cetera, we will do that sort of work as well. So, we always say at BioNJ, we walk around with a whiteboard, and so we're always interested in new ideas. So if anyone has any ideas for partnerships that you think we might be helpful on, please don't hesitate to approach. We're widely open to that. And the list, is rather long, and we're really proud of it, and we're thrilled to be engaged in that way. The only other thing I'll highlight, because I know we're going to run short on time, is our Entrepreneurship Fellowship. So we launched that last year. And as you can imagine, the academic institutions are engaged in it. So we have, with 4 of our companies, we have a fellow right now who's going through over a 6-month, over 2 years, 4 different rotations at companies like Amicus, Pfizer, Photocure, and Raphael. The woman is getting just an amazing experience. She's a PharmD, and she will be, I think, really set up for a terrific position in the industry. We're now actually interviewing for our 2nd fellow that will go in with 3 other companies. So that's the way that we're engaging.
All right, thank you. It's lots of good information, a lot of these programs. What we find is that so many of these public-private partnerships happen in different areas. We just don't talk about it. We don't really know about them. So I think this forum really helps get the word out and encourage all businesses to get involved more. Let's start the next question from you, Debbie, if it's okay, this side. So our governor talks about innovation economy and has a few initiatives. I think Dean just spoke about one, to promote innovation, especially in the biotech and the pharma industry. Why and how public-private partnership will serve as a mechanism to move our innovation economy toward greatness? What are your plans to fuel growth and support the innovation ecosystem? Who will be the beneficiaries, and what are the benefits of all the parties involved? Can you talk
Sure,
about that?
sure. So I do think at the end of the day, everyone will benefit, whether it's individual students or employers, the industry, the academia, and the economy, certainly in New Jersey. And I just have to give a shout out to the governor, the kinds of things that he's been doing since literally day one, and the conversations that he's been having about the innovation economy, and the very specific and many ways that he's supported it since he stepped into office has just been absolutely incredible. And we couldn't be more excited about that. And so the kinds of things that we'll be doing certainly are supporting those initiatives, which we're, as you can imagine, doing already. And so I guess the only other thought, and I'll be quick, but the only other thought I would, I'll leave this question with is, that question reminded me of the adage, all the adages, right? If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go further, go together. Forward faster together. No man is an island, and this is, I think, one of the best examples of, where that is absolutely true. So.
Well, again, to pick up on Michelle's point, if you want to stem the out-migration, and stem, no pun intended, you have to provide a reason for our students to stay here. You have to provide a reason for our industry partners to partner with who's here. There's three key elements to a successful and vibrant innovation economy. The combination from the academic, the public, and the private sector. So I echo Debbie's compliments of the governor in terms of the commitment that he's made to this area. The key thing will be that there will need to be a substantial investment by all three of those sectors to take it from where we are right now. We made a lot of progress to take it to the next level. And again, I think that what I referenced demonstrates that our companies clearly see value in partnering with organizations and institutions in this state. And bearing in mind that many of the Hinge members, for example, are global companies who have choices about where they invest and where they commit. And so the question really is, we need to have a compelling value proposition for them across all of those, particularly when we look at the comparators, most particularly one that the governor cites often, which is Massachusetts. And we look at Massachusetts and other places like the Research Triangle and Northern and Southern California to look for models to see what's been successful and how they keep their companies there. So I think, and again, our goal is we always are encouraging our member companies, we're exposing them constantly to these kinds of programs. So the more information you can share with us about what programs you have, we'll be sure that our companies are aware of it, so that as they calibrate where they're going to be making their investments going forward and where they're going to be committing, they'll see what the opportunities lie, particularly because there are so many different levels of skills and capabilities that exist across our spectrum that we need to be sure that we provide them with the full range of options. And I think by that, everyone will benefit.
So from my perspective, this is really an unprecedented time of opportunity. First of all, there's a lot of focus on workforce. There's a lot of focus on career and technical education as a means to addressing the needs of that workforce. Rashad highlighted the skills gap that is out there. We hear about it all the time. We can't find those employees, and there's a lot of opportunity for people with strong technical skills who may not need a 4-year degree. They may choose to go on for that, but they may not necessarily need it. This bond act that was approved by the voters in November is going to provide a huge opportunity, and the public-private partnership is baked right into that. Every project that is approved for funding is going to need employer partners. It's going to foster greater partnerships between the county vocational schools and the county colleges. We're looking to get the greatest amount of leverage from each one of these dollars that's invested. I mean, the level of state support for this is really unprecedented. The state is going to pick up 75% of the cost of these investments and looking to counties to the remaining 25%. So from the business perspective, here's an opportunity to get at the ground floor to help shape new programs that are specifically conceived to meet the needs of New Jersey employers in filling their business needs. And they're being asked to contribute their time and their expertise and be full partners in this, but they're not being asked to build it. The state and the local county taxpayers are actually going to build and outfit these facilities. So it's a huge opportunity. All of our counties are actively at this point weighing what direction they're going to go in this. They're talking to their local workforce officials, talking to local employers about what are the needs that are out there and where should we be investing. So if you're an employer and thinking about needs and you haven't engaged in those conversations yet locally with your county vocational school, I would urge you to do so, and I'll be happy to help you make those connections.
So why innovation economy? Because you don't have a choice. Technology has transformed our lives and our businesses around the globe. So you must not do what you have always done. If you do, you will get the same results you have got. And so that's why we feel that the traditional curriculum that we've been teaching for the last half of century have to change. And we don't want to change for change's sake. We want to change it to meet the industry needs. And the partnership is, I call it, it's a win-win-win partnership. You cannot afford to not participate. So the example in point is we had an industry called the security systems technology. It's a fancy name for security guards. In the old days, you hire a security guard and the man is 250 pounds and standing out of the door and 6 foot tall, and then you take care of your business. But in today's world, it's no longer the case. You need all the cameras installed all over your buildings, but the cameras do need maintenance. They do need repairs. They do need somebody to watch the screen, understand what they're looking at, and translate the data and give the management the reports so that they make sure that the facility is secure. So this called the security systems technology industry approached the college and said, can you give me some students? And I said, I don't even know what you're talking about. So long story short, we partnered with them, and the partnership goes like this. They say, I need people, and I say, I need the equipment. They say, I'll give you the money. I said, no, I don't want your money, which is kind of a silly thing for me to say as a college president, right? But I said, because I take your money, I don't know what to buy. And if I buy the right thing, I don't know how to put them together in the room. So the agreement is we set up 2 rooms, and they go in there, they outfit the room by themselves. Then I say, I got a problem. I don't have any existing faculty member who can teach those courses. And they say, no problem. They're so desperate, they will fly in an instructor every Friday on their time, on their dime to teach, because they were so desperate, they couldn't find the people. So we're teaching this program in our downtown Trenton campus. A year and a half ago, we graduated the first student, and he was offered $55,000 a job, and he turned it down. Why? Because he had better choices. And that's how desperate it is and how quickly you can. Now, not all partnerships will go smoothly in the first round. We had a partnership with a company called ABJ Drones, which is also headquartered over at Cranberry. And we started partnership about a year and a half ago. And the company brought all the drones. We offered the drone free to the students, everything supposed to go. But then turns out the fees for the course is way too high. The reason for that, because those drone operators, they can make much more money by operating drones for defense, homeland security, real estate agency, insurance, anywhere you name it, it's a short supply. So we can't find instructors. We have to pay a high price to bring them in to teach, and therefore we charge a very high fee. And there were very few people signing up for the classes because most of the people who want to become drone operators, they are already professionals. They have a career. They don't need another degree. They just want to get a certificate. So starting next semester, we are moving this quote-unquote degree program to the non-credit side. It become lifelong learning. So you can, like Michelle, you are still taking courses for your lifelong learning thing. And it's not a whole year long, a 2-year long thing. It's just a short duration, and you get your skills and you move on. So we are making changes. And what are we doing right now? Right now, we're developing a program called Aviation Mechanic Program, because Mercer County is investing $11 million at the Mercer Airport. And if the county is investing your tax dollar and my tax dollar, I want to make sure that tax dollar return to me, return to you too. So if you have pilots and you have airport, you have terminals, well, planes don't land and take off by themselves. They need to be maintained, right? So mechanics is another shortage. And why do we give jobs to PA? Why do we give jobs to California, who does those things, and New Jersey don't? So we are, again, teaming up with a company called Jet East and Mercer Airport, and try to develop an apprenticeship mechanic technician programs. We don't want to reinvent the wheel, because we already teach auto mechanics. They're all electronics, more or less similar. It's an engine, one is bigger than the other. And then we teach aviation 101, aviation 102, about aviation safety, et cetera. We'll bring these two programs together, and then we ask the company to provide hands-on experience. So we are in the middle of developing that program, and that's something that we feel will fulfill the needs of the economy and provide jobs. So if there is a need among the audience, I heard John saying, apprentice bank. Yes, we also have a finance degree. We have real estate degree. We have paralegal degree. We have over 70 degrees. And if we don't have it, we would love to open it. Aviation mechanic is not the degree we have right now, but we see the need, and we're working. And Mark came to see me talk about something else, and I brought it right up. And now guess what? He's working really hard trying to get me another partner in the mix. So this partnerships thing is what I call the snowballing. Always talk about it wherever you can. You never know, someone in the audience will have another idea and bring another player to the table. So we're ready to partner with everyone.
Okay, last round, speed round, 1 minute each. Saw the time, I can see the time over there. So all parties in the public-private partnerships have a role in order to be successful. What should each partner's responsibilities be, and what are some of the measures of success, and who bears the cost? I think Rashad mentioned that the government funds certain projects, and then when it ends, do we lay the people off? So what are your thoughts on a sustainable partnership? Anybody who wants to grab it?
Well, I think you start with the value proposition that both parties have to have a clear understanding of what value they can get from the program, both the institution who's offering the program and the organization who's supporting the program. I think that's vitally important, because that's how you start to define success. Another aspect of it is the degree of engagement that both parties bring to the party, in terms of how involved the company. If the company is just going to write a check, for example, I don't know how much support you're going to get or how sustainable that program is going to be. There has to be a level of active involvement, like Rashawn talked about. A third thing are the metrics. Define up front what you're going to try to accomplish out of the program. Make sure the metrics are realistic and reasonable and achievable. And again, look for a timeline. Is the program intended to be short-term? Is it a build program? Is it intended to be a long-term program? So I think, again, when you look at all those elements, if you put them all together, you've got the framework that you need in order to determine how you design the program, how you implement the program, and how you measure the program.
So I'll say that you begin the partnership by asking two questions, which I have been doing. What do you need? Each partner has to clearly understand what your need is. I need the students to be employed. And your need is you need to find a well-trained workforce. Then what do you bring? A partnership will never be successful if the involving parties do not bring meaningful things to the table or do not get something impactful in return. It has to be give and take, both impactful, meaningful for all parties involved. And the third thing is, I think each partnership needs to be memorialized in writing so that there is a clear document that we go by. We can adjust along the way, but we need to have an agreement so that we are very clear, we're very precise, and we all know our responsibilities and our obligations in that regard. So that has been very important to the college.
I think from the county vocational school perspective, we're really looking to build a talent pipeline for the long term. The majority of students who graduate from a four-year career and technical education program at the high school level, they're still young. They're still going to continue their education. They might go into an internship type program. They might go on to a two-year college. They might even go on to a four-year college. So, I think a company that partners with the county vocational school and advises them, certainly there are a lot of employers that do get that student right out of high school as a known quantity, as a successful employee. But just as often, we're really asking them to help shape that pipeline, to shape the students' thinking, to help make them aware of your industry. I mean, I think one of our great success stories has been around the manufacturing industry, which for many years was complaining about nobody wants to work for us. Nobody, we can't find talent. And it's been a very long dialogue, but those partners that have come to the table with county vocational schools have helped our schools to develop 11 new manufacturing type programs that are preparing students for a long career pathway in manufacturing. And some of them will graduate and go right to work for those people, but even more so, the return on investment that those employers are getting is now, here's a young person who is leaving high school with a commitment to our industry and awareness of our industry. They're going to continue their learning and their education with a focus on manufacturing, where if we hadn't had that interaction and that engagement, they might have just gone to some other type of, I want to be a civil engineer, I want to be an architect, I want to be something else. So it's really about making an investment in the long-term pipeline as well as an active partnership to train employees for next month, next year.
And I'll take a sort of a global view of how we know if we've been successful. So are we keeping our students here in New Jersey? Are we keeping our highly skilled, highly paid workforce? Are companies able to find the people that they need with the skills that they want? And then are those seeking positions able to find the positions in the time frame that they need at the level at which they need them?
Yep, thank you. So big hand for the panelists here. And the Q&A session is open. So
Thank you so much. My name is Effie O'Delia. I'm from Achievers Early College Prep Charter School here in Trenton, New Jersey. And our goal is to enable our students growing up in Trenton to have access to STEAM education right from middle school. So we're starting that exposure early. I think in listening to the different avenues and partnerships that are cropping up around the state, my mind kept going back to issues of access and equity, just making sure that everyone has a chance to participate, knowing some of the amazing programs that are here at Mercer, at the vocational programs that are becoming much more competitive, much more sort of based on academics, which means there's a certain historical trajectory that students have to be on in order to be able to apply to a specific academy, and it locks certain students out. So I just have questions about how do you ensure that with all these partnerships there is a certain level of access and equity for everyone to compete.
Go ahead.
I will say, I was looking at Mark, so I'm going to use Mark as an example. Mark runs the TDI of Greater United Way of Greater Mercer, which is a program that provides technology support for low-income family, i.e. give free computers to deserving students. And Mark and I were teaming up to distribute, and right now 20 computers are sitting in the room being distributed to our Mercer students who are eligible for that. And that's one way to ensure the accessibility, affordability is provided to students. Another example is Trenton High School was not part of dual enrollment program for a very long time. So when I discovered that issue 2 years ago, I went to find out why. And the reason was purely even 1/3 of tuition, Mercer County Community College tuition is very low. And a course is less than $500 for 3-credit course. But even 1/3 of that, many of Trenton High School students cannot afford. So what we did is we went to find a philanthropist in Trenton who cares about Trenton children development. And we raised 100% of the funds to not only cover the tuition, but textbooks and transportation. So there are 55 students from Trenton High School this semester is with Mercer studying college degree courses completely free to them. You know, so there are partnerships to be had to provide those affordability, but also add to the governor's initiative of a free community college promise. Mercer is participating in that. 204 students this semester is with us. It's 100% paid. The students don't have to pay $1. It's completely free to them. The college is also moving towards open educational resource, which means it's called OER for those of us in higher ed, but the Open Education Resource is what it stands for. It means you don't have to pay hundreds of dollars to buy textbooks. The college is moving into that direction as well. That's why computer is very important. For those people who don't have textbooks money, they certainly don't have the money to buy a computer. So we're doing all kinds of things to spread. We provide transportation. We run the shuttle between the two campuses, free of charge to the students. You know, those are things we make sure that we ensure the equity and accessibility to those people who are underserved.
So, and from the county vocational school perspective, they're free public schools. They're open to all residents of the county. Students do need to apply. Sometimes the problem is lack of awareness from individual students and families. We'd like to see more disadvantaged students applying for those programs. We'd like to see more programs and more opportunities for all students to be ready to succeed in all of those programs. But there's a vocational school program in each county for all students. They may not get their first choice program or their second choice students, or their second choice program, but the programs are open to everybody in the county, and we would like to work with the local districts to make sure that all students, particularly minority and disadvantaged students, have strong access to those programs.
Let me turn the awareness perspective on its head and talk about it from the industry side. Industry often has no way of knowing the sheer wealth of opportunities there are there for partnering. And I think the most important thing that you all can do is figure out ways to help the industry and all the corporate sectors that are involved be more informed about what you're doing. One good way, for example, is every one of the Hinge member companies has a corporate social responsibility program, and a lot of the money that goes into the kind of programs I've cited go through these corporate social responsibility channels. For example, on the Hinge website, there's a drop-down menu where every company that has a corporate social responsibility program, there's a hot link to their program. That should be a roadmap that should help you get to the right department in the companies in order to help them know better what you have available to them for partnering opportunities. That's one way among a number. But I would strongly say it's about ensuring that our companies are more fully aware of everything you have to offer them, because they're often looking, but they don't necessarily know where to look and who to ask.
So call Dean, or call me. I would just, going back to Michelle's comment, the 3 legs of the stool, and I think this is just really where those 3 legs are critical, where industry, academia, and government all have a role to play, a place to play, to bring something to ensure access.
Let's thank you very much for the panelists, and thank you for patiently listening to us this 45 minutes. Once again, a round of applause for the panelists.